morning, everybody. Happy new week. It's the day after retreat, and thus my husky voice is back after an intense and unforgettable weekend, which has hosted our 25th Ultimate 48-Hour retreat with amazing people from all over Australia. So that was really, really exciting. And as always, get up, had my 12-hour sleep last night, and got up, went to my PT. I'm still hot from that. Had my shower, and I'm here to do the post-retreat wrap up, clean up. But first of all, we're going to do our Monday morning live and do my lives as I do each Monday morning here at 9 a.m. Good morning, Karen Faye. Silas, nice to see you guys. I'm going to do my sharing here, and today we are going to talk about a question that hit my inbox the other day from one of my gorgeous authors around, Nat, what would it cost to take the business national, and what are the things around accommodation, advertising, what else was here, event venues, having a virtual assistant, all that kind of stuff. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a background of my journey and what it used to cost me, what it's costing me now, and how all of that works, and whether or not you're ready for this. So we're going to talk about that this morning. Good morning, Benetta. Nice to see you as well, my neighbor. All right, so I'm going to do my little share, you guys, here into a couple of groups that this also goes live in, and then we're going to get started with this morning's content. And that this way I can tick one thing off my list. I have so many messages and emails that have come across over the weekend because we've been at retreat, so I wanted to focus on my retreat participants and make sure I'm not distracted by other messaging. And so therefore this morning is all the cleanup after all of that. And one of the questions, obviously, that I wanted to answer for a client was this. So that way I don't have to do it after the call. I said, I'm doing a live on this morning and go through and watch it. It's going to be an awesome 30 minutes together. So if you guys have any further questions around the topic, around what was asked of me, and you're curious about stuff, please post them up as we go along, or give me some love hearts and thumbs ups and all that kind of stuff. So a bit of background about when I started taking my business to other cities and around the country and then around the world. Good morning, Sandy. I basically built a lot of relationships, friendships, connections over Facebook, in groups, just being visible, adding value, all that kind of stuff. And actually my initial national tours, for the first probably 18 months, I did not use any paid advertising, right? Which you kind of go, well, you don't live there, you don't have a network there. But the network I built was purely through Facebook, and just that repetitive fact that people see you, and then when are you going to come to our city, and using my contacts and connections to help me get bums on seats in those cities for my events. So that's how it originally happened. Accommodation, I would figure out, what is the most affordable way, affordable place I could stay in, using Airbnbs and things like that, and basically did it really, really on low cost. I actually used to source out, I had this venue in Sydney, and some of you that are Sydney people, the Bat and Ball Hotel, they had a function room at the back, which is actually reasonable, but it was absolutely free. And I just figured out ways, of doing it. Like one lady that I was in contact with from Brisbane, she also let me use almost like a boardroom kind of conference room for hire, for free as well. So there was ways for where I was in the journey. I tried to figure out where I could save and where I would need to invest money to get myself across to these cities. And my initial events, you guys, were pretty much 6 to 10 people. So there wasn't massive numbers of people. Nowadays we get about 25 to 35, 40 people in our interstate events. But then that's also because we're able to invest a lot more into the promotion of them, and also because we're aware of what is likely to be our outcome and our result when we have invested X amount of dollars, what's likely to be the output. So the input's going to be this much and the output's going to be this much. Good morning, Humara. You're up late in Dubai. And Danny, I hope you guys have recovered a little bit. I did have my 12-hour sleep last night, so it's been a whirlwind last 3 or 4 days. All right, and I'm waiting for some stuff from you, Humara. Today, you said you're going to send me some stuff, and today is the 20th of May, and it's birthday week, you guys. It's my birthday this week. It's on Friday, and I've got so many things planned that I can't wait to do. Starting this afternoon, I'm going shopping with a stylist, and I'm getting my photos done on Wednesday and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, off track a little bit back because I saw all these gorgeous people log on. I'm going to go back into that message. So I'm going to start off. So there's 5 different things that this particular author of mine asked me. She said, I'm thinking about going national. Can you give me an estimate around what plane flights would cost, accommodation, event venue cost, Facebook advertising, and virtual assistant per year? So let's start at the top, and that is the plane. Of course, like how much the flights cost. Well, if you're just starting out, go and compare all of when you're booking flights, compare the airlines, the 3 major ones I would do, the Jetstar, Virgin, and Qantas here in Australia. Good morning, Adrian. See, the authors that were just at retreat, they're up and at it already. Go and compare the flights and, when they leave, when they come. If you want to save a little bit of money, get on a super early morning flight or go late at night, or, just figure out, what is affordable for you at that point in time that you are wanting to do your event. One thing I'm going to say about flights, please, please, please don't risk it and go on a super early morning flight to do your event on that same day just to save on accommodation. Nowadays, you don't know, whether flights are going to be delayed, cancelled, and we hear of that all of the time. And you don't want that extra stress, especially if you have invested the money to get people bums on seats in those cities. There was only one time I missed making it to an event, and that was going across from Perth to Adelaide. Basically, mid-flight, someone's going to die, and they diverted us back to Kalgoorlie, which meant we couldn't land back into Adelaide later on in that evening, even though I was flying the day before. But basically, my event was going to be the following day. And so we had to be diverted right back to Perth once we dropped off the person who wasn't well in Kalgoorlie, and then I had to fly out the following morning and completely missed my 9 till 1 workshop, and basically had to reschedule, and I rebooked it for the following week, and luckily everything had worked out, and 80% of the people who were meant to be there actually could come the following week anyway. So always go on the day before. If you want to save a bit of money, go on the not inappropriate times, but the unfriendly times, and check what airlines have what specials. I like to book my flights ahead of time. I usually do 6 months worth of flights. So when it's about October, I'll do generally all my flights from January because I know my schedule, and that also booking ahead of time or watching where things are at. That's where you can also save a bit of money rather than doing it last minute. Skyscanner, there you go. Adrian saying Skyscanner is good to look. You can check dates and set up alerts if you want. And you're right, yeah, you can set up alerts and all that sort of stuff. So some people have a preference of airlines, maybe because they have got frequent flyer points or whatever it is. I personally don't have a preference. I follow the rules that the airline has. So be very mindful if you're going with Jetstar that you don't have any more than that 7 kilos of hand luggage, because you are going to get into trouble. So just follow the rules, buy extra luggage. So because our business has a lot of weight, because we're carrying books. Good morning, babe. Are you at my house yet? What's it called? Aviv was meant to be coming, guys. And I started this live and hadn't said hello. Anyway, so, well, I lost my train of thought now. Facebook, what is it? Flights, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, luggage. Okay, so luggage, make sure, like with us, carrying a lot of books, I'm always booking the extra. I'm not going to book 20 or 25 kilos. I'll always go for the 40. One advantage that I like about Jetstar is that you can have multiple pieces of luggage. Therefore, you know, if you're going to buy the 40 kilos, you can have 2 or 3 bags. The other airlines, you have to buy the extra piece of luggage, and that's something that, you know, otherwise you have to stick to that one piece that has to be a certain weight and all that sort of stuff. And then on the way back, so I always estimate and buy a little bit more than I need, because I know that what I do in my business requires a lot of weight, and therefore I don't want to get into trouble at the counter. It's shit when someone has to say you're overweight, you got paid this extra stuff, and it never happens anymore. I've become a master packer. All right, so that's it about flights. Skyscanner is an app, and then you'll learn if you're doing something repetitively, you know which airline. Like for example, we always fly across to Perth with Qantas on our early morning flight, and we get there just for like almost brunch, and on the way back we know only the best deal is Qantas to Adelaide, you know, sorry, Perth to Adelaide, and then the best connection is Virgin. You get to learn the time of the week, because our thing is repetitive. So when it becomes repetitive, you'll know which airline is the best one that goes where. I'm always check, but it's like almost we rock up at the exact same airline and flight when we're going across to different places. In due course, when you're ready, if you want to invest further for more comfort and going to business class and all that kind of stuff, absolutely do so. But don't throw your money down the toilet if you're just starting out. You've got to be just a little bit mindful where you're at and, you know, gauge. So from me staying in Airbnbs and working out how to save money to get across to other cities and all that sort of stuff, we've become a little bit more lenient where we're investing to stay at the hotels where we're hosting our events and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, we've added on Stuart coming with me rather than me going alone, which doubles all the expenses and all that. So you creep up in terms of, you know, how you do it and what you invest in it. Okay, so accommodation already said. In the beginning, you might want to just figure out Airbnbs and affordable places you can stay in, but don't try to save on that extra night by trying to fly into the place early in the morning to do your event. Luckily, I've never been burnt, but I have done that 2 or 3 times, and someone said to me, "Nat, you're playing with fire there, yeah?" So that's what I find, you know, and if you do use Airbnbs, make sure you leave people awesome feedback. And sometimes if it becomes a regular thing, you might even have a regular place to go back to and stay in. All right, event venue costs. So I already spoke a little bit about having your events at potentially free venues. I mean, of course, it takes a little bit of research and asking lots of questions. And I can tell you initially when you're doing it, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on the phone, a lot of time ringing places, asking questions. And not every venue is good at giving you quotes back and all that kind of stuff. Be very mindful on all the upsells. Like, you know, the one thing I hate investing in is projector hire. I think it's ridiculously expensive, like $200-300, and the venue could be like the venue hire could be costing you that much. I actually have had a projector. I bought it even before I had a business. It's probably 12-13 years old, and I've had it for so long. Used to use it at home for movies and things like that, but still the lamp is working. And whenever venues try to charge us projector hire, we say, can we bring our own? And we pack that in and we bring it along, and it works just fine. And this is like something I've had for 13 years. So I just used it in Wollongong the other day, and we note down where we need to take it and we're taking it along. I don't see the point of, you know, double the venue costing double over having to hire a projector. So please invest in one. I went to Officeworks the other day. A brand new one is you can get a reasonable one for $500. Otherwise, on eBay is your friend. You probably can get secondhand ones a lot cheaper. And that way, it just when I know what they cost and what people try to charge for hiring them, I feel it's a waste of waste of money. Most venues will give you the flip chart or the whiteboard and all that kind of stuff as part of the thing. And as I said, in my early days, I figured out, you know, little function rooms that I could get for free at the backs of pubs, because then you can say, go in with the aspect of, look, people will have lunch here most likely after we finish the event, and which is what used to happen with us. And they were so grateful that have like 20 orders or drinks, and people would do all of that in a non-peak time. Because if your event is like a morning and that place is open from the morning, but they don't really get a lot of traffic and all that because they're a bar, then they're getting business and people through the door without needing to, you know, you're kind of bringing the business, and vice versa, you're getting the venue for free. So develop awesome relationships with people at different venues, and when you find one that you love, of course, keep going back to them. They'll get used to you, you get used to them, and you really enjoy going back there because you just know exactly, they know what you want, you know what you want, and so on. When we had to do a lot of research when we took our business to the US, oh my goodness, it was like different countries have different rules in terms of how bookings happen and what you get, and there's no such thing as coffee and tea during an event. Like here, it's just like a standard thing that you ask for. And they're the other things, I guess, you gotta be mindful of. Will you provide coffee and tea on arrival and break? Because they can sometimes, some venues charge like $6 or $7 a head. Multiply that across 30 or 40 people, you're kind of going, really, $400 or $500 for coffee or tea? So just bear those things in mind. You don't necessarily have to provide that, you know, fresh water, whatever it is, and tell people ahead of time. Or sometimes what we have done is actually, because sometimes venue coffee and tea is absolute crap, the coffee, we figure out if there's a spot somewhere around the area that has barista coffee. And if we want to, like when there's people arrive for their rego, we'll say, would you like a real coffee? And we'll take the order. We actually go and buy like the stack of a tray of coffees and all that. Of course, this, you know, for massive events, you can't do that. But we'll go buy it, and actually it's a lot more personal and friendly, and for $4 versus that the venue charging you $6 for crappy, you know, whatever that coffee they put on. It's just like watery coffee. Anyway, you guys, so that's my opinion around venues. As you grow, you'll be able to find and source, and you can negotiate. Don't forget to negotiate with venues, you know, and tell them, look, I am likely to use your venue 2 or 3 times a year, or all that. I'm looking for a long-term relationship, and for us, we can say, look, we mentor and have a lot of clients who do their own events. So by us having you at your venue, when people ask us where should we go in Perth and Adelaide or whatever it is, generally our recommendation is the venue that we like, and we will you know, say, hey, go and speak to this venue. So there's a potential of you know, a referral business from our business, because our clients are their clients at the same time. So think of the venue being a collaborative partner. When a perfect example, went to Wollongong the other day, and this venue that we used actually was really awesome. By the time we set it up, when we walked in, it was like, oh my God, we have to come. And then they said, oh, we haven't done an event here forever. They go, do you have pictures of this on your website? Because when we set it up, they said, oh my God, it looks amazing, the room. And we said, well, let's take some pictures, and you guys can put them on your website, and then can advertise this so your actual business makes more money. And so Stuart emailed the pictures through. But during the event, a couple of the participants said, oh my God, I didn't know this place existed here. I actually do events, all that sort of stuff. I'm thinking of coming back. So 2 people, they were going to get a business out of 2 people who were at our event for future opportunities. So use that as leverage and ammunition to negotiate the price. And once you know how to do it, and you have written a system, you can then give it to someone to manage it for you and to research and contact venues. For us, Stuart is the venue person. So he's, and again, when he is booking venues or setting things up, he does them in clusters. So he's not like looking for one for this place and all that sort of stuff. He's always looking for, let's book in all the venues for the next 6 months that we need. sort it all out, put all the agreements in, everything's set. So same thing, everything that I do when it comes to national travel and tours and all that, it's done in like a 6-month block. So I'll sit down, book all of my flights for 6 months. Stuart will sit down, book all the venues for 6 months. Of course, now it's easier and faster because we've already researched and found the places that we use, or we go. Sometimes it's like a lot of them will be repeat, and others really need to find a new venue in this city. So then that's where your bulk of your research will go into. So they're the kind of things to just make sure that you're looking through. And certainly a virtual assistant, if you don't have a steward, can help you do that. Even if they're remote, they could be emailing venues and asking questions and all that. Initially, I do recommend, as you're the business owner, you're the most passionate person about your business and what you think and how you can sell yourself in what you do, you're the best person to obviously negotiate and ring places until you get the language for it so that you can outsource it to someone else. The next question here was Facebook advertising. All right, so one thing I want you all to ensure, even before you take your business on the road national, is that for how many people do you need to speak to or be in front of in order for a percentage of them to become a client of yours in your thing that you do, right? Or to become a customer, right? I want you to be certain that what you do can be monetized, right? Sometimes people can start doing stuff and going to places, yet they don't have a very clear picture of what their sales funnel is. And where the client goes from one step to the other, and why they're at the event, and what's the ultimate intention of the event, and where do we want them to go next, okay? And when you have done that and have run and exhausted all organic strategies and things that cost low amounts of money, but you've hustled, you've found people, you've asked to be recommended, all that kind of stuff, of course, you can start testing and measuring and putting out advertising to sell tickets to your event through Facebook or Instagram and all that kind of stuff. In this case, you should hire an expert who is going to help you alongside you. So this is going to be a relationship where you have to be actively present. You can't just outsource it and forget it. So you're going to have to most likely provide images, content, discuss your model, and look for alternate ideas as you go along, because if you're going to do this permanently and long term, as we have for the last 4.5 years since we started, you have to keep reinventing yourself and changing as times change and how the algorithms of social media adjust and work. So so it's really important to seek out an expert, work alongside them, and set a budget per event. We work on a retainer with our expert, whereby we pay a monthly fee and whatever needs to be done around Facebook gets done. Sometimes people work on per event scenario where, you know, I want you to help me with this event, but if it's something that's going to be around the clock kind of thing, you need to set up some kind of like a retainer type of relationship. Then it's obviously you'll have the fees that you're paying that person on a retainer, and then you're going to have your Facebook advertising fees, which are going to be, as I said, set a budget in terms of what you'll spend. Initially, I think we're somewhere between $500 to $750 per event, $500 to $750 to an event. Very quickly, we went to $1,000 to $1,500, and now we invest about $2,000 on Facebook advertising. So this is just the spend, not the fees that we pay on the retainer. So I'm talking about purely ad spend. And then what you're monitoring and what you'll learn over a period of time is, you know, the touch points, the conversions, what is it costing you to get a person in the room? You know, if you're doing well, it could be anything as little as $50 or $60, anything as much as $250 to $300, which has happened to us in the past. And this is scary, like entering that world of investing significant amounts of money to get bums on seats. You have to be certain. This is why I'm saying you have to be certain how you, what you do, how it sells, what's the percentage of conversion rate that you get, so that you know as you go through. Of course, you're going to have some events that are super successful and some events are going to be donuts, right? Donuts. I think earlier this year, like we had like almost 3 events in a row where we got absolutely no conversion. But then we had 4 or 5 events where we had double the conversion we normally get. So every year when I sit down and as I monitor this, I actually see where the average sits. And ultimately, it just eventuates to be the exact same thing. So therefore, I don't get freaked out when I have invested, let's say, $4,000 to go somewhere, be there, host my event. So starting at minus 4,000, I don't stress if I don't convert, because I know I just keep turning up, I keep turning up, you keep turning up, and keep doing your best with the same energy, with the same enthusiasm, and you keep going, and you will turn around. You will have snowball effects, and you'll have times where you feel like, you know, this is not working. So that's why you don't want to stress yourself out. It's not the time to enter Facebook advertising if you can't make peace with the money that you put in there, that potentially you might not get anything return on investment. You need to give yourself 2 to 3 months minimum testing and measuring time when you start working with a Facebook ads person, so that you can properly establish a presence as well as figure out what's working, what's not working, and not just give up on the person because you're freaking out that in 2 or 3 weeks time nothing has happened and you've invested $1,000, $2,000 or more. Yeah. So be mindful, seek for advice, seek for recommendations from other people, and monitor, but make sure you're being an active participant in the relationship with that person that's helping you, because you know, and look at other people's ads, you know, that do similar things to you. You know, what is it that they put on? How do they do it? Are they doing more video? Are they putting testimonials? Are they sponsoring blogs? Or they're putting live streams as a Facebook ad? So, you know, there's ways, you know, that you initially maybe build an audience and then you retarget that audience and do all of that kind of stuff. I don't know the intricate detail of how it happens. I know Stuart knows a little bit more than me, and of course the person we're working with knows more than us. But as you go through it and get familiar with it, you know what's good and what's going well and what's not so good, right? The last one here, guys, as we our virtual assistant, that's right. So the last question my awesome client author had for me is, Nat, virtual assistant for a year, you know, to help out with promotion, newsletters, things like that. So if you hire a virtual assistant through an agency, you will generally almost pay double the hourly rate than if you hire them just purely yourself. Of course, through an agency, they might come in some shape or form trained and prepped and understanding what you need, and you won't need to waste time or energy as much, but you still gotta, you know, get that person really up to speed in your systems to understand what you want, how you work, all that sort of stuff. My experience, I've only had one virtual assistant ever. She's been with us more than 3.5 years. We hired her purely through Upwork.com. And basically spent, she had no experience at all, spent the time training her up, you know, getting her used to what we were doing. And I guess she grew with me at the same time, because I was figuring out how to have a virtual assistant and what do I give them and all that kind of stuff. She's now part of the business and the family for so long. We're taking her, well, we're meeting her in her country in the Philippines this October with Mum and Viv. And we're having a 10-day team building, if you like, kind of experience. So I can actually meet her and we can all sort of see each other physically. So you can do things like this. I know Francesca got her 3 virtual assistants flown across to Australia, and they just experienced her whole, her events, her 3-day event, like her high-end program and all that. And the reason I guess we like doing this is because the relationships are super important to us. Virtual assistants are very, very, well, can be very, very loyal if you do the right thing by them. That's the same thing with any person that works within your business, but they don't have to cost an arm and a leg, especially if they're outsourced from other countries. Philippines being the closest country to Australia without too much of a time difference. So we're only 2 hours time difference, so therefore we can work you know, the same hours. They're 2 hours behind, and it's the preferred country for most entrepreneurs here in Australia to get virtual assistants from. What can they cost? Anywhere from $5 US upwards. As I said, if you're hiring someone through an agency, you will pay almost double that. But over a year, we'll just multiply, you know, about $13,000 to $15,000, if that was the question that my client had. So there you go. So it is wonderful to invest in a virtual assistant at the very minimum when you are growing, and there's a lot of administrative tasks to do. There's a lot of actually administrative online tasks to do when you're running events, and a virtual assistant is the perfect person to take care of that while you're out there doing the physical kind of stuff. With Viv, who's downstairs in my house at the moment, she's my personal assistant, and we've grown the business to a level where I need someone physically here with me, where we're packing today. We're unpacking after retreat, and just getting everything sorted, and of course someone in a more customer service role and all that. So you guys will grow as your business slowly evolves and grows. It started off with just me, then Stuart, then my mum, of course my virtual assistant, and then now Viv. And you know, it's just little incremental steps, and I believe in that sort of go slow and steady rather than hard and fast, because hard and fast sometimes can also mean that you can come down crashing super. That's just my style. I like to get you know, evolve and grow and settle into that place and just get used to the dynamic and all that, and then, you know, go again. All right, guys, so that's me for another Monday morning. I hope this has been valuable. If there are further questions for this, just post them up in the comments. I'm having birthday week, so for the rest of the week, I'll just do the bare minimum and obviously get back to all my clients and all that sort of stuff and enjoy myself, because next week we are off to WA, South Australia, Victoria. I have 3 events in 1 week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Back home and then off to Queensland the following week for 3 in 3 days, and then off to Thailand for a month. So literally this is my last week on in the chair here at the desk, and then I'm off for about 7 weeks, and I will still be around, but you'll see me from different locations. All right, have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys not next Monday, because I'll be on that early morning flight to Perth, so I might do the live a little bit later in the day, sort of around 1 or 2 o'clock Melbourne time. I'll talk to you guys soon. Mwah, have a wonderful day. Smash it out.